Minute is brought to you by St. Francis Health. We listen, we heal.
Well, more cases of the measles are popping up throughout the country. 125 have been reported in 17 states. Nicole Saganga reports.
The CDC is concerned that measles infections continue to rise in the United States. As of April 18th, 125 cases were reported in 17 states so far this year, the vast majority occurring in people who are not vaccinated or those whose vaccination status is not known. Nearly half of all cases are children under 5.
Parents, unfortunately, are withholding their children or delaying their children from being vaccinated against this disease.
Dr. William Schaffner with Vanderbilt University Medical Center says measles is the single most contagious virus we know. He warns there's a misconception among some parents that it causes only mild illness.
It is an absolutely nasty infection, and I would not wish a single child to have to experience measles.
Health officials are warning of a possible exposure at the Indianapolis Children's Museum during the solar eclipse after an infected person from out of state traveled there for the viewing. Anyone exposed could show symptoms as late as April 29th based on the incubation period. Symptoms are high fever, cough, runny nose, red eyes, white spots in the mouth, and a rash that starts on the hairline and face and spreads.
The measles virus can get down into your chest and cause pneumonia. Even more seriously, it can get into your brain and cause inflammation.
Doctors say the best way to avoid infection is to get vaccinated. Nicole Saganga, CBS News, Washington.